much every transfer window, in particular the big summer one, we get linked to a player I've never heard of before. I have a look at him, start to get a little bit excited that we won't get him, and then we don't get him, and then I get disappointed. And every year I try and sort of manage that because I know it happens. It's a trend I'm aware of. And it's hard, you know, it doesn't seem to matter how much I'm aware of it. I still get disappointed. I think you get your hopes up and then you get disappointed. That's football, like, you know, and it's a silly thing to do because you're never going to get every player that you're linked with. But every so often, there is somebody that you think, oh, actually, he's really good. And then you hear, this is more than just a rumour, we are in for this player. And the player I'm talking about is Lucas Stassin. Stassin the Assassin, that's the one. If you've not seen the video Gio did with Sloth the other day, go and have a look. Sloth goes into very fine detail about why this young player, this 20-year-old striker, would be very, very good for West Ham. The reason I'm talking about it now is because Stuttgart are supposedly interested in him. And there was a report earlier that basically said Stuttgart could be looking to pip us to the post, could beat us to his signature. Now, we know that there's been talks. This has been confirmed by 2 or 3 people now. And the reason I'm doing this video now is because the Mail Online or the Daily Mail or whatever it is have done a really, really big piece on West Ham. And they've gone into a lot of detail. And there's a lot of things on there which I think trouble me. And just in case you're new to the channel, you don't know, I'm very concerned about this transfer window. I think I'm expecting incompetence. I'm expecting it not to be very good, which I know is not a great standpoint. And yeah, okay, I definitely get accused of being negative, and I try not to be, but I think it's hard not to be. And there are, well, if I look, there are 4 main, possibly 5 main components. Take finances out a bit, but 4 main components why I am concerned about this transfer window. The first 2 components would be David Sullivan and Karen Brady. I just don't have any faith in them. I just think they're light years behind. I'm not going to go into detail and discuss everything I've discussed on multiple occasions, but I just look at other clubs with a real proper infrastructure. You know, the type of clubs I'm talking about, be they Brighton or Aston Villa or any number of clubs, they just seem sort of 20 years ahead of us. We're behind the times. So I think that is a massive hindrance. So I've got some evidence there to suggest why my belief is that I think we might struggle. I think we tried to mitigate that with the appointment of Tim Stuyton as a director of football, and we got rid of him. And getting rid of a director of football is no problem for me. If it turned out he wasn't any good or he was having a row with everybody, then fine. But you don't then get rid of the position of director of football because that's just bloody stupid. And I think we're suffering for it now. I've worked in the construction industry for years, and you know, if you get a crap plasterer, you don't suddenly think, well, hold on a second, I'm going to get rid of that plasterer and I'm going to do without a plasterer now. Actually, I've done that once, and you don't want to see the ceiling that I skimmed, but you just get another plasterer, right? And this is what West Ham haven't done. West Ham have just not got another director of football. So the person closing the deals is David Sullivan, and still involved in the transfer negotiations, Karen Brady. So that's, I've got evidence there that suggests that that's not a good thing. I don't like that. What I have less evidence for is Kyle Macaulay and Graham Potter. It's more of a suspicion. And because neither of them have ever done pretty much the jobs they're doing before, I'm worried about that. To skim over it, Kyle Macaulay was a data analyst at Chelsea, Swansea and Brighton. Now he's head of recruitment. That's a big jump. So he's learning on the job. Graham Potter's only ever been a head coach. And now he is basically deciding, making final decisions on who to buy and sell, and phoning up players to get them to sign and stuff like that. He's no longer just a head coach. He might be, I don't know, I'd have to check out, he might be the only manager in the Premier League. Might be that everybody else is a head coach of a director of football. So West Ham have got it different, so I'm worried. I'm extra worried because it's so important, this transfer window, because, well, because look at last season, look at the team. Look at the team. I don't need to go into any more detail than that, right? There's players going, players have left, our loan players have left, funny enough, today actually, I believe. We've released there's 3 players out of contract. There's more going to be going as well. Kudus looks like he'll be on his way soon. Gerd, Gio covered in a video earlier today. and midfield's not very good, so to put it bluntly. So we need a lot of players. So it becomes more important, really, really important. This transfer window, we need to be slick, and I just don't think we will be. And for that reason, I'm petrified. And as I've been saying for a little while, I will chill out once we've signed a couple of players. I think, oh, hold on, he's good. I will then think, oh, okay, perhaps we know what we're doing. Perhaps Macaulay's learnt really quickly on the job. Maybe Potter's learnt really quickly on the job. I'm open to that. I want that. That's what I want to happen. But it is hope. I'm worried. I'm very, very worried about it. Which takes me to this really elongated article, which was more like a Q&A on the Mail Online. And a couple of the things that they said absolutely worried the hell out of me. And it wasn't just this thing with Lucas Stassin, because actually the Mail did confirm that we have had talks. And we've had three separate sources, if you like, have confirmed that we're interested in this player. I don't know that if he's our top target. I don't know, but I would assume he's pretty important to what we want to do. I'm going to read you something now. And I really don't know what this means, but I've got to make the point. David Sullivan either was on holiday or is on holiday. Graham Potter was on holiday, right? And business is getting done now. Players are getting signed now. And I just thought, if you have a director of football, it doesn't matter. The chairman can go on holiday, the manager can go on holiday, the head coach, it doesn't matter. The director of football is there to do this stuff. And he did overpay a little bit, but Tim Stein used to get the job done. And that's why he was so early. He was really early with the... you'd have to go back and check the date. I probably should have done it before recording this video. Lewis Glerme deal was done very, very early, as I remember it. Anyway, this is what the Mail Online have said. They said Graham Potter's is no longer on his holiday. He has returned home. He lives in Brighton, right? It said, however, he's leaving much of the heavy lifting in the hands of head of recruitment Kyle Macaulay, who was described to Mail Sport this week as a planner. Nothing wrong with that. And not a lastminute.com kind of guy. I don't know what that means. But on the one hand, you can take that any way you want, that statement. Kyle Macaulay is a planner and not a lastminute.com kind of guy. So that could mean that he's not going to leave it until transfer deadline day. That's good. Brilliant. Brilliant. Really great to hear. But the other bit, he's a planner. Oh, why are we still planning? I completely understand that when Macaulay and Potter arrived in January, they didn't want to sign anyone. They signed Evan Ferguson. Forget about him for a moment. But I still gave them, halfway through January, February, March, April, May, and then that's 5 months for planning and targeting. So even though Graham Potter's returned back to England, he's still leaving the heavy lifting to Kyle Macaulay. No, nobody should be leaving the heavy lifting to Kyle Macaulay. Kyle Macaulay should be getting all the help he gets. He's a guy, he's a data analyst, he's a number cruncher who normally sits in front of a computer, who's got a brand new job. He needs help. He needs assistance. The club have been advertising on LinkedIn for assistance. So I think Potter should probably be helping him, I'm guessing. But I'm a bit worried about this planning malarkey. I want it done, and I am a little bit worried when you put that hand in hand with the fact that Stuttgart are ready to beat West Ham at the signing of Lucas Stassin and are preparing an offer. I'm not blaming all of this on Potter and Macaulay, by the way. West Ham are terrible at this stuff. We have been for a long, long time. Like other clubs are going to wait around for us to make an offer. The best time to buy Stassin was probably yesterday. The next best time to buy him is today. what we can't do is sit around and just wait for other people to come in. And these are not... I just want to make the point here. I'm just trying to flick through. So Stassin, 20-year-old player. I'm going to slaughter this guy's name. I do apologise. Rafael Onyedika. Actually, I think that is how you say it. We're not... He's the Club Brugge midfielder, basically. And the Mail has said he's a really realistic target. A 24-year-old midfielder was impressed in the Belgian league. He's in the last 2 years of his contract. West Ham are having talks with the club, with Brugge, and they've been positive. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But these are not... It's not like going to a top club and buying an established player. These are young players who haven't made it yet. They're playing at St Etienne and they're playing at Bruges. St Etienne got relegated. This doesn't require a lot of negotiating. This doesn't require a lot of thought. Identify them, pay the money, get it done. And look, as we mentioned in yesterday's news, was it today's news roundup? Whenever, right? Whenever Gio did a video on it yesterday, whether West Ham are actually up against it with FFP, or whether the Athletic is right when it says actually we can spend 90 million without getting in trouble. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Look, even if we are up against it, the punishment doesn't happen next week, right? We've got billionaire owners. They can still loan the club some money or do something, make some money available. Just go and sign these players. And then when you get the money for just go and pay it back. Do whatever. There's wriggle room there. That's my point. Whether we are up against PSR or not up against PSR, there's wriggle room to make these transfers. We don't have to sit on our hands doing nothing. And I don't wish to sit here and worry you. And tomorrow I'll be back with hopefully a more light-hearted video. And we'll just do another news roundup. We'll have a 60-second news roundup with a little bit of silliness and that'll be done. But it's worrying me. And I'm not seeing an awful lot that's making me not worried. As I say, I will chill out as and when we get the first couple of deals done. And I don't expect us to, by the way, go out and buy the most high-profile players. I don't mind if Potter and Macaulay, their decision is to buy uncut diamonds, hidden gems, if you want. I don't mind that at all. We've got to get the average age of the squad down. And if during Macaulay's time as Chelsea's data analyst, he has uncovered a number of players and their metrics are good and the data is good, so he's got the inside track on a few of these players. Brilliant. Brilliant. I don't mind that at all. I really don't. But once you've decided, and I hope we have already decided, then what else are we waiting for?